And welcome back to the Constitutionals Podcast. I'm your host, Chad White. If you didn't know, this is the podcast, the premier podcast for the website, cpluscomedy.com. Like I just said, it's a website. Go there. Welcome back in. Here we are, delivering to you another very special episode. Maybe I should just have a different thing where it says like a special episode, like those episodes of, like Saved by the Bell or Boy Meets World or Family Ties or The Fresh Prince. I could keep going, but I also am forgetting a lot of the TGI Fridays sitcoms, the family-driven sitcom. I don't know if. I don't know if Saved by the Bell is a family-driven sitcom. Anyway, those sitcoms from the 90s and 80s where they would talk about drugs as somebody would get caught up doing like speed or somebody would, no, that is too timely and I will not mention things where, and I'll get to the comedian in a second. Let's see what else. Someone get caught up in speed because they have to stay up all night studying for a test, or they have to finish some school project, or smoking a cigarette, or one teen's pressuring another teen to have sexual relations. That is what we're here to talk about today. The more you know. That's what I was leading to. Anyway, we have a special interview with another comedian today. We have Ben Katzner. I hope I'm pronouncing his last name correctly. I spoke to Ben to talk about his new stand-up album called, and it's special. As you listen to this, the day you listen to this, the album version will be out. But right now, you can go watch the special on his YouTube, Supple Harlot. That is the name of the special / album. Special's been out since mid-August. What'd you call August 11th? Mid. And then Friday, September 12th is when the digital version comes out. You can buy it wherever you get your comedy albums. And presumably you can listen to it wherever you get your comedy albums. Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube Music. Ben's a funny guy. He's very introspective, and I would say this is a self-produced special, which I appreciate. Which I told him he could do whatever he wants with it. Meaning it can look however he wants it to look, and he and his partners chose to do no audience shots, no reactions, which I think is wonderful. I loved it. Ben's a good guy. He lives in Minneapolis, so we talked about him doing comedy there. We talked about a lot of things. He also has a podcast called The Troll Hole Podcast. He hosts with fellow comedian Mike Lester. They talk about internet trolls and call them out, the wild things that people choose to say to them online, as well as their other comedian friends. And if you want to be sold on the podcast, I think you should look up Troll Hole Podcast on Instagram. I'm serious. Ben's a nice guy. He talks about being adopted. He talks about we talk about his graphic novels. He has a new one coming out, but the first one's called Hello, My Name is Poop. And the second one is called Muddy Waters 2. And if you don't know Muddy Waters, then you will understand that this is in conjunction with Redman. Yes, the rapper Redman, who released Muddy Waters 2 as a record. I don't want to go off on Muddy Waters 2 because it's an excellent thing. And it's TOO. It's excellent. I'm not kidding. There's a song called La La La, featuring the wonderful and the excellent Method Man. That is, if I'm not kidding, if it's not in my top listened to songs this year, I will be so concerned. We did not get a chance to cover that the second one that's coming out, but it'll be out soon. Anyway, Ben Katzner, funny guy. He's a funny guy, excuse me, when you stop taking out words and sentences. So if you want to check him out, follow him on Instagram at Shaq Katzner, ShaqKatzner. You can watch the special on his YouTube at youtube.com slash, hold on, don't play. Ben Katzner. It's called Supple Harlots. You can watch it. If you want to listen to it, you can listen to it wherever you get your, whatchamacallit, your albums. He's got live dates coming up within a week. Crazy. It's almost like he's a touring comedian. Listen to Troll Hole Podcast, wherever you get your podcast. What else can we do? Follow Troll Hole Podcast on Instagram. Check out Ben Katzner's graphic novels. Hello, my name is Poop. And the second one, Muddy Waters 2. With, again, rapper Redman. And that is it. And this interview. Check out this interview. It's great. If you want to watch a video version of this interview, go to youtube.com/comedy, where you can also see the other interviews I've done with other great comedians. You can also watch the premiere version of this podcast, The Constitutionals, on youtube.com/comedy, where you can also watch LinkedIn Logs, the Jobs podcast, as well as Late Night Lately, the Late Night Show. Subscribe to those shows wherever you get your podcasts. C+comedy.com is, of course, the website. You can follow us on social media at C+ Comedy on Blue Sky, Instagram, and TikTok. Me at Chad Black White. Now, get ready to listen to comedian and graphic novel artist Ben Katzner.
Give me one. Okay, that's better. I feel like I was washed out there first. Okay.
It's all right. Look, it's the only time we'll ever get to feel washed out because of how dark our skins are.
Yeah, that's right. You're right. I have to soak it in. I have to really enjoy this.
Yeah.
Perfect.
How's it going? How's your day been?
My day's been all right. I've just been writing, been cutting some lawn, doing some dishes, doing some housework, just really trying to soak in that artist lifestyle, which is just chores while my
Yeah.
wife is at work.
Yes. I completely understand. I just came back. My hair is a little bit messed up. I took off my helmet. I was on my
Okay.
bike. I went to see a
Okay.
movie and I came back home. And then as soon as I walked in the door, my just entire head was just wet. Insane.
Wait, what movie did you go see?
Actually, this week I saw two. Yesterday I saw what's the latest one that just came out? This is so ridiculous.
This happens to me all the time. The latest one that just came out, I have no idea. I just saw. This is how far behind I am. I just saw the movie Weapons that everyone's been talking about for a while. So
Weapons is fantastic. Yesterday I saw The Conjuring: Last Rites,
okay,
and then today I saw Hamilton. During which I would say three older women sitting in the handicap seats spoke the entire time. And
okay.
it was ridiculous, and I was so mad. I was sitting on the second row, and I kept turning around, just going.
It's tough. That's always a tough situation because it's like, how do you tell someone who's like in that section what to do? You're like, hey, you're just out enjoying your life, but also I did pay $18 for this movie, so like maybe you let me have my time too. I don't know. I get
Yeah,
you. I feel you.
yeah. If it's noon on a Wednesday, let everybody enjoy Hamilton. It's ridiculous.
That's right. And also, it's like you're like it's four of us in the theater. It's noon on a Wednesday. What are we doing here? Come on,
Yeah, what
let's
are we
respect
doing?
it.
But actually, I had a nice time. I was able to watch. This is my favorite thing to do when I talk to a comedian, as such as yourself. I get to watch exactly half of your special. It's my
Okay,
favorite thing to do is get through at
perfect.
least half because
Love
I
that.
know I can talk to you about your writing process and I can get a feel for who you are. And you just transitioned from the adoption section.
Okay, I got
That's
you.
that's where I am with you.
Now,
Uh,
how do you decide which half? Do you always start at the beginning, or do you
yes.
sometimes you should work backwards, and then you could be like, "Hey, your closer is incredible," and then we'll all just be like, "Wow, you watched the entire thing? That's so nice of you."
Yeah, I like to if yours is funny enough to where I can get through to the closer. Sometimes I talk to people and I go, I watched half, and then in my head I'm like, that's it.
Sure. Well, I appreciate that compliment.
Yeah, yeah, you're a very funny person. You carry yourself very well. I always wonder for someone like yourself, you're very confident on stage. And it just you come out just rolling with a lot of great jokes, a lot of great one-liners, and you're peppering the audience who is ready to laugh. They're ready to receive. I'm so glad you keep mentioning how much the ticket price was because that is just exactly what I need to know. Um, but how did you find that initial bit of confidence on stage where you can say, "Well, I don't give a shit what these people do or don't like about me."
Sure. That's a great question. I think confidence is such an interesting word to use with me because I feel like it's so fleeting. At least with myself, probably with a lot of comedians. Like, there used to be that era of comedians where it'd be like Sinbad was like, I've never bombed. I've never had a bad set. Eddie Murphy is Eddie Murphy. He feels confident. Chris Rock is oozes confidence, all this sort of stuff, right? And then I'm like, yeah, I don't know. These guys might hate me. They legitimately could, I could go up there and they could boo me two jokes in and it could be tough. But I think for that night specifically, it was like, so this is a self-produced special. I had my friend Jeff Stonick help me shoot it and direct it, but like it's me and him. We're doing all the stuff. We're literally rigging up the lights. We're doing, the seating rearrangements. We're making sure certain people aren't sat in certain spots. We're doing setting up the cameras, all this stuff. So for me, the confidence maybe you were picking up on was just the relief of being on stage. I don't have to do anything else except say these jokes that I think are funny, and I believe in them enough that I'm recording them. So if I don't have confidence during that time, like when do I have confidence? You know what I
Right.
mean? So I think that's what a lot of it was just being like, oh, I'm up here. Everybody shut up. I'm going to talk for an hour or whatever. You know what I mean? Like that's how I really felt when I was up there, honestly.
Yeah, I do appreciate that it is self-produced because and not that I'm saying like oh like you can tell it's self-produced, but no, I appreciate that because you have the control over the final edit and you can really paint yourself. What I really like about it is that everything is so up close. I don't have to deal with seeing somebody react to a joke in the
Yeah,
audience. I don't have to deal with people drinking their drinks or eating their food or whatever, getting up.
sure.
I mean, there is something to that, but you command so much attention that it's important that I don't take my eyes off of the screen and I listen to you do your work and deliver your jokes.
Yeah, I think it was pretty intentional. We have some wider shots in there, or not in the actual special that we shot, but we just decided, I just decided like, I was I just wanted it to be about me. I'm selfish, it's about me. I don't care. I'm glad you're there. People are there because they're laughing, right?
Yeah.
You hear different laughs, you hear different kinds of laughs. So real people are there. It's not a laugh track or whatever. But when we set up the room, honestly, that is what the shots that we did is probably a bigger disservice to how we set up the room than to the audience or to the special itself, because I feel like we set it up kind of beautifully. It was at Sisyphus Brewing, which is it sounds like a brewery, but it's actually a brewery with a built-in comedy club here in Minneapolis.
Cool.
And they've been going for 10 years. They have incredible acts. It's one of my favorite places to perform stand-up comedy. And we transformed this back room into what we were calling the joke void. Okay.
Mhm.
Like we really crushed it down. It was very black. There were some candles on the tables and everything. It looked different than it normally does. That room, usually there's like a brick wall behind the comedian. It's a
Mhm.
little more well lit, all that, or like brighter, kind of like if you see how my hand looks right now, like that's how the wall is. It's a little too bright for me sometimes. And I've seen how other comedians shoot specials there, and I just wanted something different where it's like, I love this room, but I want to make this space my own. I want you to
Okay.
feel like you stepped into like a little, I don't know, like side dimension. You walk through a portal and now you're like, what is this? And it's just a guy telling you jokes for like 45 minutes to an hour. You're having a good time, and then we're done. Then you step back out, and you're like, oh, I'm back in the real world. Like, so that was kind of the impetus behind a lot of that, where it's like, I don't want a lot of I'm tired of seeing a lot of the crowd being like, ha ha ha, like no shade to anybody else who does that. They're laughing. You can hear it, right? And I also am very self-conscious about my body in general. So I was like,
Mhm.
we don't need a bunch of side wide shots. Why don't we just keep it nice and tight? I like my traps right now. I kind of like the shoulder game. Why don't we just keep it right there? So that's where we left it.
Well, you got to do some trap work. I worked on my traps this morning when I did
Mm-hmm.
back and buys. So I completely understand where you're getting at.
Thank you. It's nice to be seen. Finally, I like to be seen.
There's a lot of stuff that I could see if this were a different time, um, that I could see just like quoting. I'm so sorry. You might hear my animals fighting each other. But
That's hilarious. I do not hear that, but I love that you have like a pet fighting ring in the background. That's great.
it's ridiculous. The dog is going after the cat. It's getting ridiculous. Anyway, um, but yeah, what I really like is like, do you have a lot of great things that you could just quote? Like, are there any hot people in the room? And no, and like one person answers, is anyone adopted? No one says anything. And then you
Sure.
go off on what feels like a minutes long tear, but it's probably like, 20, 30 seconds of just like shitting on the crowd and telling them like no one's had a broken home. Like, what's going on in here?
Sure.
I think that's wonderful. I think that's something that you mentioned Chris Rock, you mentioned Eddie Murphy, even people, back in these early periods of stand up, or in I would say I wouldn't say the golden era, but like that those periods of stand up when they were at their heights, they would aim for even Sinbad. They would aim for catchphrases and things like that. But yeah, you
Sure.
have a lot of great, well written material that I think anybody, if it catches on to the right people, that anyone can just put on a shirt and sell and be relatable.
I appreciate that. You want stuff that sticks with people. However, it sticks with them, it sticks with them. It's great. If it's a phrase, if it's the vibe, if it's, oh, I remember the big guy with glasses, whatever it is. If I do good and you take something away from that that you want to tell other people, I'll take that. You know what I mean? I don't know. Sometimes there are comedians who, like my friend Shane Torres has like a seminal bit about Guy Fieri, right? Where it's like people will be like, I heard your joke in 2017
Yeah.
and I think about it every day or whatever. I'm like, that's what you want. You do want one of those. You want that. You want like a Brian Regan or joke or like a Jim Gaffigan Hot Pockets type thing, whatever. Like something that people can be like, that is one of the best jokes I've ever heard in my life. And I don't know that I'm there. I know I'm not there yet, but like hopefully someday I write one of those where it's just like really captures the attention of everybody and they're just like, however you feel about that guy, that joke is incredible. Like that is the joke that you should remember him by.
Yeah. That Shane Torres joke, I think I heard it on Conan when he
Yep.
did stand up on there too. And then you hear it in specials or online and you go, yeah, that's fantastic. It's not, but I think it's also very important that you mentioned Brian Regan and Jim Gaffigan. Those are both notoriously clean comics.
Yeah.
And it says something when even like they are the people's comic and the comics comic. It says something
Yeah.
when you can come out and say, "Hey, these guys are the tippy top." I can't. I remember before streaming was a big thing, and before YouTube even, you would go on comedy. You'd have to watch Comedy Central or HBO, and you'd have to see a Jim Gaffigan thing that was airing on Friday night, and it was appointment television, and
Right.
that was amazing. Or even go to Blockbuster and check out the DVD like I did.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's incredible. You're more dedicated to comedy than I ever have been. So I respect that. If you're getting blockbuster DVDs, good for you. Yeah, I think that's what I want to bring back to like live performance. I want it to, and it is there for certain people, obviously, like obviously people are coming out in droves to go see a Shane Gillis or a Nate Bargatze or like Ali Wong or all these, I don't know. There's a bunch of these people who are just like, when they're on tour, they are on tour. Like
Mhm.
the city they go to, the population like shifts. It gets bigger because they're in town, And that's what I want. Maybe on like a smaller scale is like you're talking about that appointment viewing. I feel like with streaming, It's always out there, okay, it'll always be on Netflix until it's not. And then when it's not on Netflix,
Yeah.
I can put it on YouTube or whatever. Or it's always on YouTube, whatever. But what you can't capture, what you have to go see is that live experience. And like, I don't know. I mean, you tell me, I don't know if I captured that fully in my special, but that's kind of what I was trying to capture too, is just that thing of like when you're talking about me riffing on nobody having an answer to my question, like I think that was a live in the moment thing. Like that's not a thing I do every show. Like even if I ask that question, I'll get a different answer every show. So I love the idea that people would come out and have appointment like viewing, but for live performances.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of Bargatze and Ali Wong, I've watched their last specials, and you're right. They're on tour. They are these big open venues. In Nate's case, his was in what, the baseball stadium, when he
Yeah,
was on
something
that first,
crazy, something
which
insane.
which is, yeah, wild. And then Ali's was on this big beautiful stage, and even Atsuko's was on this wonderful stage, and then yours was an intimate show. But I think in the end, even though they have a different reach, they all have the same message, which is we're coming together. I'm telling these jokes. You're gonna sit. You're gonna listen. You're going to enjoy, hopefully. And and you're right. It has to. There are specials that I can point to where it just doesn't work, where there's something not clicking. Where for Nate's, it could have been big and expansive, and then things are just, they go into, you mentioned the void earlier, in that stage in Minneapolis. It could go into a void where somebody sitting in the rafters in a baseball stadium is like, I don't know what he said, because
Sure.
people next to me are talking. And then for you, it could even happen because someone's sitting in the back of the room and they're trying to order, some chicken tenders or something.
Not at my shows. You don't get to eat at my shows. You starve at my shows. You laugh. You get drunk. That's it. You get
That's
a
it.
little bit of water. We put it in a dish in the back, but nobody eats at my shows.
You have to lap it up like a dog.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
But yeah, but like, it's still, but it works. I think it works. It just, and in the end, you just have to be funny, and that's what you do. You
Sure.
accomplish that feat. You're a funny guy, and even still, even the title. I'm sitting here 5 minutes before I get on. I'm going supple harlot, so I don't seem like a fucking idiot when I come up to you. I'm like, hey, so nipple purple shit, just like,
Honestly, that was my backup name for it, so that's
yeah,
good. Nipple purple is pretty good.
yeah, you're welcome.
Uh, yeah, I was talking to a friend, I was an old colleague, coworker, and he was telling me about his wife, and he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna go meet Ben. He just had his new special come out, whatever." And she's like, "Oh, what's it called?" And he told her it was Supple Heart, and she just goes, "I don't like that." And I'm like, "Hey, as long as it elicits a response, if it's you love it or if you hate it, I'll take it. That's where we are in the world. Is like, just tell me something about it, and I'll be fine with that.
Yeah. What's it? I have to know. I speak to people from Denver. I speak to people from New York, LA, here in Atlanta. What is it like doing comedy in Minneapolis? What's that scene for you there?
Sure.
Is that where you started, or how did that come about?
Yeah, I started in Minnesota, Minneapolis, like very soon after like my very first few sets, whatever. It's funny. I say it in the special, but it's literally Wakanda for white people. That is what I
Right.
say.
Yeah. Yeah.
I believe this. It's the opposite of Atlanta. I've done comedy in Atlanta too, but it is one of those places where if you do it right, you can get different people from different walks of life. There are some of the best comedy audiences in the country. That's why so many people come here to film their specials. Like, I'm just trying to think off the top of my head, like Andrew Santino, I feel like just filmed a special here. Hannibal Buress filmed specials here. Rory Scovel, I think. Kyle Kinane, like all these people
Mm.
just come here because the audiences are great. Like you want to come through here as a reward and to test your material and make sure it's like up to snuff for these people who see a lot of really good comedy, right?
Yeah.
In the same way that when I was in New York, the bar is higher because they see a lot of comedy or they have a lot of other things to do. That's kind of the same thing here in a different way, where it's like the bar is just higher because it's like, well, should we see you? Or why should we see you when we just saw Tom Segura at the Target Center where the Timberwolves play? It's like, why should we spend our money on you? And it's like, you got to prove it. If you're headlining, you got to prove it for sure. Like, it can be tough sometimes, but it is worth it to like once they are with you, they are with you and they support you.
Yeah, I think playing in states and cities like that, that's where we talk about comedians or people in our industry having to earn their due and dues, pay their dues and everything like that, and like work from the bottom and everything. But you're right. If you they're different. They're different muscles, performing in New York and performing in Minnesota. Um, but if you can make it in Minnesota, if you can make it in a place like Denver, if you can do that, then there's a better chance that you can go to New York and play better gigs because of that following that you've built up. And also maybe even turn that crowd into something into people that would accept you as their fellow New Yorker comedians.
Yeah, I think a lot of it, like, so on the comedy end, like straight up, it's just like it's nice when you come from a scene where good comedians come from, and then they go other places and they're also successful. So if you're talking about Denver, if you're talking about Portland, if you're talking about Chicago, Houston, Atlanta, a lot of these places, like if then you go to New York or LA, there's already people there. There's people, whether they're your same age, class, whatever, like they are there, and then you can kind of connect, which is always really cool as a comedian. It's like first day of high school or something, and you're like, I don't know any, you're going at a new school, and you're like, I don't know anybody, but you're like, well, I'm on the football team, and I know that guy's wearing a jersey, so like I at least know that we both like football.
Yeah.
That's what it's like being a comedian going to a new scene when you come from like, especially one that's regarded highly. As far as the fan bases, I feel like it's like so much stuff is a crapshoot, and it's so hard to like build a footprint and get an audience and get just stuff moving for yourself. So it's always nice where it's like if you can get a base built where you started and then you go somewhere else, it's less like dragging people along with you and more like, okay, now when I go here, I got a little place I can call home. This is
Mhm.
new home. This is old home. Oh, now I they like me out on the West Coast over here too. Like that's another place that I can kind of just call home. Maybe it's not my full house. Maybe I'm just Airbnbing it, whatever. But having these little hubs to go to is what keeps people afloat. It's how, like our job as comedians is to tour and do this live. And like, if you don't have that, that's the lifeblood of what you're doing. So if you don't have that, I don't know what you do. Like, you got to build it somehow. You have to build that audience. You have to have that footprint somehow. That's what I
Yeah.
believe.
I like that. That's a wonderful answer. Now you said you were writing earlier today. It was I see that you also write. You have a graphic novel and you have another
Mm-hmm.
one coming out. How are you switching between the doing jokes and then also doing comics and everything? Because I used to do comics when I was very young,
Very cool.
and I've only done stand up a couple of times, and I have no interest in ever going back. But the
That's what I like to
comics,
hear. That's the smart decision. That's what
yeah.
I should have told that to myself when I first started.
No, no, you're good at it. I was horrible. But I enjoyed the comics, and that extends into writing other things. So how are you balancing the both of those aspects?
By procrastinating on all of them. That's
Yeah.
generally how it's just let's take as long as humanly possible to write another good joke. Let's take as long as humanly possible to write this next graphic novel. I am a person who I love I love a deadline. I love someone saying, "Hey, we need this right now," and then I wait a little bit too long, and then I go, "Oh no, they need this like right now." Like that's where I'm at. Today was a good day for me just because I kind of woke up. My I This is a weird insight into my life, but I dropped my wife off at her day job, and then I will come back and like then I do all my stuff. So it's like
Mhm.
whether it's around the house, whether it's writing stuff, whether it's interviews, all this sort of stuff. I usually take the day to myself. I'm trying to be better about structuring the day, right? And today I was just like, you know what? I feel like I want to really. I had some ideas yesterday. I did a set last night, and I'm like, I think these are good ideas, but I am not. They're not translating.
Mhm.
I'm in the joke building phase. So I'm just thinking about these jokes in my head all the time. So I'm like, I need to sit down and write, right? And then that's for the stand up stuff. And then I'll get like a text or call, and it's like my friend Elliot and I are working on a graphic novel idea right now, and he's like, "Hey, when this week can you work? When can we get together to write? So like I need him to kind of pull me away from it so I can go do that stuff too. And then I need to pull myself back to be like, okay, you're headlining this weekend. Do you have the new stuff that you want? Is it as good as you want it? No, you better sit down and write it.
Yeah.
I'm kind of adjusting my writing process. I have a lot of friends who are like, I sit down for 3 hours in the morning, I write, I do all this other stuff, and then I do it for 3 hours at night and I
Yeah.
journal, and then I do all this and I meditate. And I'm like, I don't have my brain doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about this stuff constantly all the time anyway. I just need to admit to myself that like, yeah, I can sit down and write more, but I'm not going to be a 6 hours a day writer person for stand up specifically. For some of the other stuff, if I'm writing a script or whatever, maybe I can. But right now we're in the idea phase. We're building stuff, and I get the luxury of being like, okay, what are you passionate about? What are you being drawn to right now? Once you work on that, and then we'll see where it takes you.
Yeah, everyone is different, and I wish people would understand that. Where like they try to implement their schedule or their lifestyles onto you.
Right.
When I graduated from college, I didn't get a job since I had a writing degree and a
Yeah.
degree in journalism. I
Me
didn't get a
too.
job like everybody else. Everybody was working in business or whatever.
Right.
So when I moved back home, I had to work in a factory. I worked at a UPS factory and I was literally just shoveling packages. This is before AirPods and Bluetooth headphones were either earpieces or these giant big things. So I'm just literally
Right.
shoveling packages. And I told older men there that had been there for like 20, 30 years that I wanted to be a writer, and they're like, well, you have to sit down and write for 8 hours a day, and that's what Keats did. That's what this other person. I'm like, no, I don't have to do that. It's 20 something now. It's 20 something. I don't have to do any of that
Right.
stuff now. And but I think you have a great schedule for who it is, for who you are at this point in time.
You have to find what
Obviously,
works for you. Absolutely. You
yeah,
have to find what works for you.
yeah, it changes. Like I wake up in the morning at 3:30 to go to work out, and I finish around 7. But
What?
yeah, yeah, I love it. It's fantastic.
Are you one of those guys who's like, your day is like 24 hours, but in 6 hours, I live 24 hours and then I do another 24. So I've got 48 hours in your 12. You'll never catch up to me. Are you one of those guys? Because that's
No, no,
awesome.
no, no. I'm not a douche about it. I really just do it because it's so much easier. I have my like I go to a local gym, and then I have a bunch of equipment here. I've got a bike back there, and then on the other side of this wall behind my computer, I have a treadmill so that I just don't have to be bothered by other people
Sure.
whenever. But my favorite part in the morning is after I get ready, brush my teeth and all that stuff, and before I start my workout. I'm like I have like an hour just to be by myself and with
Right.
myself, and I'm
Right.
not dealing with anybody or anything else. And I can, like, if I have an idea for something, I'll jot it down. I have so many notes on my Google Drive or my Google Keep or whatever. That I am branded by Google. I just need you to understand that. But no, I have so many notes written down everywhere, and it's just like hundreds of thousands of words that I can compile into. Hey, maybe I'll write a script. Maybe I'll draw a comic. Maybe I'll do this. Maybe I'll write some jokes. Maybe in case SNL ever calls me, I'll have some sketches ready. Just or sketch
Right.
ideas. So yeah, it's different for everybody, and for someone who's on the outside looking into what you offered, it's working for you, and just yeah, keep going.
I appreciate that. Let me ask you a question. What time do you go to bed?
It depends. It's like 9 to 9:30. So I get like 5.5 to roughly 6 hours of sleep,
Okay.
Monday through Friday. And then Saturday I let myself sleep in an extra like an hour or so. So I usually
Yeah.
wake up around 6 on Saturday or Sunday. Yeah.
Okay. Do you have kids or anything?
No, no, just the animals.
Okay, because you are on the parenting schedule. That's your fitness schedule. It's the same thing. You might as well your alarm might as well be like a baby crying and be like,
Yeah.
"Ah!" You're like, okay, we got to get Junior ready. That's the I love that. I love the dedication of that. I'm always very impressed by people who have like discipline, and it's very clear you are a disciplined person in that area.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Eventually, I can see it slowing down whenever I trick a woman into marrying me, and I can give her some
Sure.
children or something like that.
You're like the
Um,
wedding's gonna have to be at 7 p.m. and I'm going to be in bed by 9:30, just so you
yeah,
know.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. Guys, you got to leave. The guests have to get out. I
yeah,
have to go to sleep now.
yeah.
I do want to ask you about the Troll Hole. I
Please.
watched a bunch of clips of that show, and it just seems so fun. What? How long has it been going? Like, what is it? Like, it's just a blast to watch.
So Troll is 80 episodes deep. It's a podcast I do with my buddy Mike Lester, who's a very funny comedian here, based in Minneapolis. He spent some time in LA as well. One of the funniest people I know. And what we do is we say we trash the troll so you don't have to. That's our little tagline. We have a bunch of different comedians on, different public figures. Basically, anyone who's in the public eye, we have them on. And we like to discuss the weird stuff that people say to you online and in real life. And we go through those stories. So everybody has, especially if you're a comedian, you've got videos online that people are commenting on. You've got people just after show saying crazy stuff to you. And I don't know, we just thought it'd be fun to illuminate and put a little spotlight on some of the crazy stuff that people say to us. And our clips are about that, but I think our clips are probably a little more unhinged than how I just described it, because
Yes.
Mike is an insane person in the best possible way, and I think sometimes he brings that out in me. And but we've had awesome guests who have played along with us. We've had Jackie Cation on, we've had Chad Daniels, Kelsey Cook, Ali Sultan, Mike Racine. I mean, it's great. If you like comedy and you like laughing, you should definitely check out our podcast. 100%.
Yeah, I appreciate it because it's something different. There's a lot of people, coming out and just doing interview podcasts or, pop culture things. And I've been doing this 12 years, so
I
I'm
was
I'm
like,
not one of those people.
yeah, you're good. No, don't
Yeah.
don't dog yourself like that. I love what you're doing, dog.
Thank you. Yeah, but it's whenever if someone can do something different, like even in the slightest, then I will be interested. And this that troll hole is just like watching the clips makes me feel like I should not be watching them, and I
Yeah,
don't like. It's like I was like if I was suggested the clips in Instagram, I'd be like, what the fuck did I look at
right.
in order to
Yeah,
get that sent to me?
yeah. You're like, why is there someone doing this clip about AI cabin porn? What's happening right now? How did we get here? And it's like, hey, it doesn't matter how you're here. It matters that you're here. Step into the spit pit. Welcome to the troll hole. Jump into the hell well. Here we go.
Oh God.
That's what
Oh,
we
the
tell people. That's
spit.
what we say.
Okay. Well, Jesus. Ben, I don't want to take up too much more of your time. This has been a wonderful, wonderful conversation, and I really enjoyed the first half of Supple Harlot.
Yeah, you let me know if the second half sucks. You tell me, okay? I'll take it offline. I'll chop it down even further. It can be a 10-minute special. I don't care. I just want people to like it and view it, so that's fine.
Okay, I will leave you a comment on the YouTube channel so
Thank
that
you.
you could also feature it on Troll Hole, and
Sure.
that way we're just hitting all factors of your career.
I love that. That's like all under the same umbrella. We're trying to help each other out here. I
Yeah.
like when black people help each other out, so like let's do it. I'm down for that.
But of course, thanks again. Seriously, congratulations and good luck on the release on September 12th.
Thank you so much. Yeah, please, I should say that. Please check out the pre. You can check out my YouTube for free. That's got my special on it, but also the digital download version of this is coming out September 12th. It's got a few bonus jokes on it. It's got some cool artwork that's associated with it. Please check it out. It helps me out. It lets them know that people actually care about what I'm doing. And if you're listening to this and you think I'm funny, you should definitely check that out.
Yeah, hell yeah. All right, Ben, I'll see you later. Have a good one.
All right, man. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
No worries. Bye.
Bye.